is what it is, bruh. Can't make this shit up.
Jeez. But yeah, man. So
I'm dying.
speaking of speaking of being stoned, Oklahoma, Toklahoma, Smokelahoma. A lot of cool nicknames for it. Recently, they've done something that I feel like the United States government needs to do, and they have let you protect your pot. So currently, right now, in every state, if you've got your medical card or if you're a recreational consumer, you have to write when you purchase a gun on the bottom that you do not consume cannabis. It's weird to me. I feel like I should put like I don't smoke crack or something. Would be like the thing you put. But I guess that's not as important.
No, it's all weed, bruh.
It's weed. And now the judge has banned the ban on guns for cannabis users. Said it's saying it's unconstitutional, which it completely is.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look in a situation where you can drink, you can be prescribed to any drug on the planet pretty much.
Pretty well.
But cannabis, that's the only thing you can't have a gun for. You know, even like when I went to go get mine, I had to fill a thing out. For a concealed weapons permit, you have to fill a thing out. You have to essentially, allegedly, lie on that paperwork.
Yep.
Which is pretty fucked up. In Oklahoma, they're saying no. There was actually a case. Wink, if you can scroll down a little bit. Winks a kiss. Enhance. So a case recently, Harris had been charged with and arrested in Oklahoma, in Lawton, Oklahoma. So essentially, he had argued, lawyers for Jared Michael Harris Harrison argued that his client's Second Amendment right to bear arms was being violated by federal law that makes it illegal for unlawful users or addicts of controlled substances to possess firearms, which is crazy. So during the stop, they searched his car. They found a loaded revolver as well as marijuana. Harrison told officers that he'd been on his way to work at a medical marijuana dispensary, but that he did not have his state-issued medical marijuana card. Now, this has been an argument for a lot of people, man. I feel like, you know, of course, you should be able to have guns. You should be able to do what you want to do. But when is it okay? Devil's avocado. When is it okay to not allow somebody based on a psychological, I wouldn't say enhancement,
eval,
but a substance, you know?
Yeah,
you think it would be just an evaluation, but I mean, like, to just generalize the blanket statement that, oh, well, if you use this, then you shouldn't be able to have a gun. You're dangerous.
I think this is kind of the struggle that America, or this idea is kind of the idea. Sorry, this concept is really what America's been struggling with for a really long time, right? Because it's a matter of like, at what point are you mentally incapable of having a firearm, right? Because as an American, you have the right to one, but at some point, some people are not mentally fit to bear firearms. You know, and trying to find that line, I think, is the struggle in America today. You know, at what point are people, you know, not able to do it? And that's the struggle. And by saying that everyone that consumes cannabis can't bear arms, that can't be the answer. That's not right at all. Yeah. So
it's fucking stupid.
Yeah, I've been arguing for a long time that I'm fucking high as a kite. Jeepers Louise, Batman, that one hit. Boom. Dealing with a new cultivar in the house, I'm telling you, it's a struggle. But the idea, though, that I totally lost train of thought.
The idea that you can't have a fucking gun because you smoke is stupid.
Well, and then consuming at the same time, and the blanket statement that anyone who consumes cannabis can't be physically fit, that doesn't work, right? So there needs to be some kind of discourse that'll find the line that someone who's fit to someone who's unfit.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like, this is the same type of thing that if you're a felon in certain places, you can't own a weapon. Like, for what? Because you broke something?
Yeah, right.
Because you, like, if you're a violent felon, if you're a violent offender, okay, maybe, I get it.
Sure.
If you're a well-known crackhead or drunk, okay, maybe I get it. But that should be an individual evaluation. That shouldn't be a general statement on a piece of paper. That's stupid.
Right. Yeah. It's a tough question. It's a tough question. It's glad to see. I remember what I was going to say. I've been arguing for a long time that the banning cannabis of any kind is unconstitutional. Citizens should have the right to they should have the right to life which is the preservation of, their health, their life by securing a proper medication. They have the right to liberty, which is the ability to choose that medication free of any prosecution or threat, right? And then you have the right to, well, as a Canadian, we have the right to security of person. And then as an American, you have the right to pursue happiness. Well, I think that's pretty well explanatory, to pursue happiness. I think cannabis can make people pretty happy. I think that's fair to say.
How do you
Um,
interpret that though? Like how you know what I'm saying?
what do you mean?
This is the
How do you
point
interpret
of
happiness?
no. How do you interpret these things, man? Because like this is the argument of where like the Second Amendment,
Mhm.
it's being looked at differently. So like in this article in New York, there was a case. If you scroll down a little bit, link enhance.
Enhance.
So there is a case here, echoing the U.S. Supreme Court that they ruled last year in a case as known as New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin. The case that set a new standard for interpreting the Second Amendment. So this is where it seems like we've got a confusing thing because we've got rules and we've got things that are put in place that we can interpret differently over time, and that there's different things in different states that'll make it so one person can have something another person can't versus a federal law. So
Right.
it's
And
interesting because it's like, why here is it not okay, but this is one of my fucking rights.
yeah, they're saying the federal prosecutors had argued that the portion of the law focused on drug users is consistent with a longstanding historical tradition in America of disarming presumptively risky persons, namely felons, the mentally ill, and the intoxicated. U.S. District Judge Patrick Wyrick in Oklahoma City agreed with Harrison's lawyers, ruling on Friday that federal prosecutors' arguments that Harrison's status as a marijuana user justifies stripping him of his fundamental rights to possess a firearm is not a constitutionally permissible means of disarming Harrison. But the mere use of marijuana carries none of the characteristics that the nation's history and tradition of firearms regulation supports. So,
Yeah.
I,
So that's the argument. It's not like we're
Yep.
saying that you're on a hard drug here. Science is showing that cannabis is not as harmful as what, they once thought it was, we'll say. The whole reefer madness side, we're not going to get stoned and start graping people and acting crazy.
Yep.
It's not a thing. So I think that the more science can back that this is, if anything, this is helping us achieve that pursuit of happiness that we're looking for. I think it's
That's
going to be
right.
a lot easier to push past this because right now there's no reason you should have your rights taken away for you by pursuing another right.
No, no, of course not. Absolutely
You
not.
know,
Absolutely not. And unless you demonstrate an inability, whether it's through past history or like through your past or like criminal history or mental history, unless there's something demonstrated that you have an inability to um, possess, then I think you should.
yeah, and that's the prime example of the individual, uh, basically screening. Why wouldn't they have individuals like if you want to go get a gun, if you go for your concealed weapons permit, you go to a class,
Right.
right?
Right.
Why is it not just the same thing getting a gun too? Fuck it.
Yep.
And that they can see and they can evaluate you to make sure that, even if it's just in a 1 day class, it's better than just you signing a piece of paper and you getting it
Totally agree.
just because you don't have a felon or felony. Because, like, dude, there's people I know who are crazy as shit who don't have felonies, but they can
Have
go get a
nothing,
gun.
nothing wrong with them. Like
Yeah.
no documentable illness or
But they are
ailment or
fucking
disease.
batshit, dude. There's this
Batshit
one dude I
crazy.
used to
Should be
kick it with.
nowhere
I
near
don't even
firearms.
say his name. He always, it's no joke, always thought like the CIA or the government was watching him. He'd hear helicopters like, bro, they're over my fucking house, dude. They're over my house right now, bro. Like he was crazy, crazy. And I thought he was trying to be funny and shit. But then one day he tried to attack me with a fucking tire iron and shit in the head. So the boy's crazy. So if he had access to a gun, damn's rights he'd be shooting places.
Yeah.
But he doesn't
Yeah.
have anything on paper stopping him. He can go get one. He just broke. He doesn't
Yeah,
have
that
paper.
that kind of person should have to fill out some kind of paperwork. You know?
But they don't.
Yeah.
They can order on Grab a Gun, get it delivered, go pick it up from a local place, sign
Mhm.
for it, and take it home.
Wild. That's
That's
wild.
how easy it is, bro.
But
Trust me, I've been
this,
doing it.
oh,
You
I ton
just
of
order it on the internet,
totally.
gets brought to a fishing store down the way. I sign a piece of paper. He's like, "Hell yeah, America," and it's done. And I'm loaded the fuck up. Isn't
Yep.
that crazy?
Well, it's probably easier than that in places. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like I feel like even you signing something might even be like one step too many in some places, you know?
yep.
Imagine
This,
somewhere in Texas or something, you know what I
well,
mean? Like I have no
exactly.
idea. I have no idea.
Oklahoma.
Sure, I have no
You
idea.
know, this is
But
where
it's
the
great.
like Zen says here, mental health awareness is serious, man, and I think that that's one of the biggest overlooked things of where most of the issues we have in our country is it's a mental health problem.
Totally.
And
100%.
instead it's looked at as let's just either take that person out or strip them of rights or
Or
let's not
pump them full
address
of
the
opioids.
situation.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep, 100%. I totally agree. And the more that citizens have access to a medication that has just a more natural medication, let's just put it that way, a more natural medication, something that just doesn't seem to have that many negative side effects. We're going to continue to be going through this loop of mental crisis, in my opinion. You know, we're overworked as a society. We're under appreciated. We stress about relationships and friends, and you know, we work 8 hours a day out of like, let's be real, what 16-hour day. Like, people are awake for how long? You're supposed to sleep for 8 hours, so 16 hours you're awake, and for half of it you're working. Like, that's ridiculous. It's 2023 and we are still working more than we're living. So it only makes sense that we're this stressed out and that we're in need of constant medication, because we're not even taking care of our bodies, right? I,
Yeah,
I
mind,
heard
body,
us
soul, none of it.
everything, right? And I heard a statistic that it's like America is like 49% obese. 49% of the population is obese. Like, that's wild. That's wild. The only reason I say that is because it's like we are not in the shape that like physically, mentally, emotionally, that we really should be in like,
Because
if
we don't
with
have to hunt, kill, and survive
no,
anymore.
no. With such
Everything's
advancement in
DoorDashed.
technology, you would think, though, you would think that we would have a way of like controlling ourselves, not necessarily controlling ourselves, but like having better options. You know, the fact that McDonald's has been around since the fucking what 50s, 60s, is still around and thriving is crazy. How come there isn't a better method of food yet? You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. I don't
This
know.
is
I'm
that
just
like modern day fucking slavery. I feel like is like to keep us suppressed, to keep us at bay and docile. We're having
comatose.
food that literally is like lowering men's testosterone. We've got stuff that's giving us cancer, stuff that's making us fatter and slower, sugars in everything.
You're
And this
not
is the
wrong.
stuff that slowly but surely plays back into the mental side. And
Of
now
course it
we've got
does.
people who are not only can they not physically handle themselves, but they can't mentally handle themselves.
Right.
So we're getting to a day and age where the only reason to do better is to look better, unless you enlighten yourself more and you think differently and you want to have a better mentality. But for the most part, the only reason people work out is to look better, for a vanity thing, not because they want to live longer, not because they want to think better. Like, I notice when I'm not working out, my brain does not work as well.
Oh,
I'm
for
dribbly
sure.
with how I talk. I can't think of ideas as well. I can't articulate sentences as well. When I've got blood flowing and I'm in a better physical state, I'm in a better mental state. And I wasn't able to do that when I was working 40, 50 hours a week at a location that didn't allow me to do that.
I'll even one
So,
up you, man, and I'll be like, this thing right here, man. This thing right here. I get my best time, like like it's like exercising. It's like meditation, when I am not near my fucking cell phone, man. If I'm gonna go for a walk, it's just like I'll just take my watch and my headphones, and away I'll go. You know what I mean? And I'll walk and walk and walk. The things I think about, crazy. That the amount of ideas that I have, the amount of inspiration that I give myself, the brainstorming that I can do. But the moment that that phone's in my hand, I'm just trapped in this endless cycle of you know what I mean? I'm not even joking.
looking at
I
shit you don't even care
don't
about.
even
Like,
care about.
dude, I've gotten on
I
my
hate
phone to do
this.
something important. Did it this morning. I needed to call Wink to to ask him about a fucking password, and I started scrolling on Instagram.
Right, right.
And then
I
I was like,
know.
"Oh, psh, psh, psh."
Fuck.
Wait,
What am
yeah, I
I
was like,
doing? Yep.
like
Yeah.
as soon as it turns on, I'm like, yeah, all right, man, I got to get this stuff done. It's like,
And it's
like
like
that's just how our brains work, man.
I've challenged myself now, where it's like when I'm out in public, I refuse to use my phone. If I'm stuck in a line somewhere where it's like naturally you just want to use your phone, It's like, no, I won't do it. I won't do it. I refuse to. If I'm stuck in a crowd or if I'm just out somewhere, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. It is hard. It's hard. Try going to the bathroom and taking a shit. Don't bring your phone.
Oh, you
Don't
get
bring your phone. I
anxiety.
dare you. I
You get
dare you.
anxiety.
You will. You'll get scared. You're afraid.
Yeah.
What if something happens? You're afraid. You know, it's like you're gonna be alone. Man, you'll think your best thoughts in there. You'll think your best thoughts in there.
It's like
Yep.
meditating, dude, like being
Yep.
present in the moment. This is why meditation is so important. I try to do it
Yeah.
at least once a day, and I struggle with that.
Totally agree.
But one time a day, stop 5 minutes in full, like in the present, in the moment, whether it's breathing exercises, going for a walk, sitting and doing like transcendental meditation, something that gets you current right now is so important, man. It's so
Yeah, I
important.
totally agree. I
That's like
totally agree.
the secret to success for some of like the wealthiest in the world is like they disconnect from all this bullshit that all of
Yep.
us in the rat world fucking do.
Yep.
And they
Yep.
step back and they analyze life and themselves and their brain and it's just that's really how you get into that point where like you're the best version of you, you know, and this is where it circles back to, you know, with guns and with mental health and all these things is I don't think that I truly don't believe that there's a pure evil. I think people do evil shit because in their mind they believe it's right in a twisted way. But I think that this is all created from these things, the shit that we're put in. People, babies are born as babies, and yeah, mental issues are a thing. But there's something about the toxic shit we have in our culture, from our food to our media
There's
to our
so much.
politicians. I mean,
Yep.
everything.
Everything.
And it
Everything.
just pours on us, and it molds us into these people. And if you're not the strongest of
And that's
people, you get broke.
and that's why when people like, for example, I don't like when politics or like culture gets into sports, bro, because it's like I just want to tune in to my football game. I just want to tune in to my hockey game with none of that shit. None of that
Yeah.
shit. And the fact that all these organizations are going political now, it's like, holy, no, no, I just want to escape.
It's the place you
And
want us, yeah, to get away.
this
and
is the place I
to
just want to get away. I want to watch humans just compete at the highest level, you know, and even then I got to deal with malarkey. You know, it's
well, and
like,
I gotta believe people think about that with us because we have this show compared to our grow shows and stuff that we do and our straight up cannabis shows. But like
maybe
Pigeon 420 on YouTube is cannabis related content.
that's right.
It's all related to that. CLTV, cannabis related.
All
Related.
cannabis. Yeah,
This show, we happen to get stoned. The word top buds is we're buds. We're
we get
friends,
high.
and we're looking at the top buds, the top news, the top
Fuck
information
yeah.
at the time. So like
Found it,
we
brother.
talk about this stuff, but like in a different light, I feel versus like a pressure, stressing opinion. Oh, your hand, where'd it go?
Thanks, bro.
We're like monkeys. Oh, oh.
See, we're in the same room, fucking guys. Obviously, come on, duh. Jesus. No, man, that's exactly it. You know, it's like I like the
What is
ability.
that fucking movie where like he gets the monkey to come pet it and his wrist is bent just like mine was? He's like, and then they finally touch. The fuck was that?
Is that a
Planet of the
movie or is
Apes?
that real?
Maybe it's real.
Because I've seen some pretty crazy
Oh
things with like.
no! I watched that fucking Nope movie.
I've never seen it.
That's what it was with what's the dude? Key and Peele
Totally
guy,
bumped
maybe?
fists there. Thank you, Drusilla.
Yeah, he totally did. He's like, now
No,
shake
I'm-
hands, take
No
off your
shit.
shirt. Like,
Take off-
Nope, it's getting a little weird here, man.
Give him a hug. Nope.
A
No,
little
I've never seen
weird.
it. That movie is dope. Kush has
He's
seen
like,
it,
now
though.
kiss.
No kids.
But yeah, man, mental
Aren't
health's a
you
real
there?
thing. Mental health is a
Yeah.
real thing, and if you're
Yeah.
struggling with it, man, whether it be I went to therapy for quite a while, and the reason I quit is I felt like they were just like, oh, yeah.
Mm.
Oh,
I did it.
yeah."
I went to therapy for one day. Like
It's
there
all
was
about the right
self-admission.
therapist, man.
I just didn't. Yeah. Well, I actually got quite a bit out of it. In one day, I got quite a bit out of it. And I was quite skeptical, but yeah, anyways. Yeah, I just glitched. We just glitched. We're actually in a bunker here, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys didn't
this
know.
camera.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
screen it was you guys. It was fucking you. All right? It wasn't
You
us.
guys are high.
You guys are
You
high.
guys got really high.
Jeepers
Jesus
Louise,
Christ.
Batman. But yeah, that's the nudes. Huge shout out to we're all over the place, but huge shout out to New York. It was New York or was it Oklahoma?
Oklahoma.
Shout out to Oklahoma for doing this shit
Oklahoma.
right.
Smoklahoma.
It's Oklahoma. Actually, the Oklahoma. We've heard about it, man. The Oklahoma scene.
Yeah.
It's bumping, bro. Bumping. Unless it's the Cowboy Cup. Ooh.
Yeah.
Didn't.
that's just dumping.